Here in transition from the old to the new. Hello, Utah, and hello, Arizona. Welcome to the Albertan Coyotes Fan.
Yotes lose again, 5-3 against the New York Rangers. And I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. They sucked. This was a bad game. This is not great. 2 wins since November 14th at home. Not great. There's people that pay to watch you. There's people that pay to come see you. They're paying for a dud product. You should refund them their money. It's not going to happen because, the outcome of the game doesn't determine refund. You can't get a refund if the team loses. Makes sense. It's business. Feel like I've been repeating the same thing over and over and over and over again because the team just keeps sucking over and over and over and over again. So I'm going to change some things up. Wasn't going to happen. I was going to talk about the game, but something came up that I kind of really want to touch on. So just suffice it to say, the game recap is the team sucked. Let in a shorthanded goal. Had the lead for a bit, lost it. Didn't play well. Lost to a collapsing Rangers team that has struggled recently. Now, the last video I made, Game 43, I tend to mark it from time to time. I'm not good at it. I'm not consistent with it. Very seldom does a video end up on Twitter, on Blue Sky? I was going to say Blue Space for some reason. Facebook, whichever I decide to use. But sometimes it ends up there. This last video, it ended up on a Facebook post that was made in a group for the team. And obviously, I wasn't happy. I didn't yell and scream and do the Steve Dangle bit, but, you could tell I wasn't happy. I didn't care enough to make a video that, I was animated in. And I got a comment from a guy who, in shorter terms, basically said, Rome isn't built in a day. The analogy being used here is to say, be patient. Just wait. This team will be good eventually. This team has promise. This is a new thing where we've got to wait because they need time to build up their assets. They need time to put the foundation in place to get everything going so they can start conquering. Would you like a bit of a secret? A bit of a fun fact for you? Bit of something that might be interesting for you to know. This team isn't new. This team is a team that began in Winnipeg, in the WHA, by the way, relocated to Phoenix, then to Glendale, then to Tempe, before finally ending up in Utah. Your team isn't new. This team has history behind it. The players on the bench, the staff on the bench, and the players on the ice have probably about 50 or more years of history behind them. The only reason that it's considered new is because Bettman had some sort of debt he wanted to pay to Arizona and to Alex Morello. Alex Morello walked out on the team. As far as I'm concerned, the Coyotes are dead until further notice. And as far as I'm concerned, where all of it's concerned, any Coyotes team that comes out next is not the same Coyotes. They can claim that they have the history all they want. They don't. The fact of the matter is, you got a new brand with old players, with players that came from Arizona and have been plopped in your lap with a new coat of paint on it. And the only reason that you think it's new is because everyone tells you it is. It's not. On the topic of Rome, I haven't been alive long enough to know all that this team has done, both in Winnipeg and in Arizona. The most I can tell you about is I watched them almost conquer the NHL, like Rome conquered their bit of space in the world. I got to almost watch them conquer the NHL in 2012. They got ousted by the eventual champions, the LA Kings, in a fashion that started a rivalry because as far as I'm concerned, the Kings were dirty, which that's kind of how you play in the playoffs. Makes sense. And then there was nothing. For 8 years, there was nothing. And then in 2019-2020, because of COVID, we lucked out and got in the preliminary round against the Nashville Predators. We beat them. We move on to Colorado. We're ousted in the official first round of those playoffs. And then you know what happened? The team imploded again. Jacob Chikrin was gone. Oliver Ekman-Larsson was gone. Connor Garland was gone. Shane Gostisbehere was gone. The goalies, Antti Ranta was gone. Darcy Kemper was gone. Scott Wedgwood, as far as I know, was the third stringer for that. He's gone. He's in Colorado now. I think Colorado's winning the cup if Darcy Kemper's anything to go off of. This Rome has been built and has collapsed over numerous occasions over the course of 3 different locations. Tempe doesn't count. They didn't really do much there. In Winnipeg, they had some stuff happen. I'm not old enough to remember it, but I do know that there were times where they looked dangerous. They did some stuff. They got to the finals in the WHA. In Phoenix, they made some noise. Honestly, they were quite often first-round exits, but they still made the playoffs pretty often. I'm pretty sure it was Glendale that the Yotes were playing in when they played the Kings in the semifinals of the 2012 run. That's 3 locations. Winnipeg, Phoenix, Glendale. Where Rome's built up, and Rome collapses. And then Rome's built up, it collapses again. It's built up one more time, collapses again. Without conquering, the Coyotes and the first Jets never conquered. And now we see, coming out of last season, going into this season in Utah now, we see the fruits of the labor of the collapse of 2020. And nothing's being done with it. It's stagnant. It's motionless. It's lackluster. It's careless. Someone's not running the team right. Whether that's the players who just have a lack of care, whether it's the coach for being an old voice, whatever it is, something's not clicking. You can say it's the injuries. Teams get injured. Teams fight through them. Teams fight past them. Those are good teams. We are not, apparently, a good team. But we are not a new team either. So I'm going to do my outro. And you're going to listen very carefully to what the outro is. Stay howling. Go Yotes. Not Utah Hockey Club. Go Yotes. Until Utah has a name. Because what you have is not a new team. It is the Arizona Coyotes rebranded to fit your state. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll be back.